please tell me how long it took to bring the project together, how the project was visualised, how it came to fruition, just a bit of the background to it. Please.
Okay. Well, the origin of it is I got diagnosed with skin cancer.
Yes.
And while I was waiting to find out what type of cancer it was, I decided to write the black comedy about cancer, like to exorcise my fear of cancer.
Yes.
And then I put that on the shelf for about a year. At some point I was trying to get a short film made to show how I work with actors. And I considered different things, and I thought I'd go for that one. And then a friend of mine hooked me up with a producer who found pretty much all the crew for me. And my point was, as I said, showing I can work with actors, but I had a little bit of bad luck. Just as I was about to start pre-production, I got shingles.
Oh my God, really?
And my actor was a cancer survivor.
Right.
So he had a transplant, so they had to suppress his immune system. So he couldn't get close to anybody with shingles. So I lost my cast. I always said, when I do something, I'm gonna rehearse it to death. It's gonna be like you can press a button and they can play the whole thing straight, as if it was stage play. Of course, I did my casting on a Wednesday. My producer hooked me up with casting directors. I was shooting on Saturday. I made my picks. I took 24 hours on Thursday. Then on Thursday night, one of the actors I picked got a very paying job. Well, I finally got the actors on Friday, shooting on Saturday. No rehearsals, nothing, not even a table reading. The actors met on the day. I had only seen them on the casting. I never saw them together.
There was no connection. There's no because normally you have like a casting call. You might have them all together and.
Not on my budget.
No, but even so, I mean.
It would have been great. I had to imagine how they would combine. And then because I lost one, I had to think, okay, with the other one, which of the remainder of the ones I liked would combine well with this guy. Because it was all about the chemistry. You had to believe that the big guy would be intimidated by the little guy.
Yes.
And I think I was lucky, but it dominoed down from there. Of course, I wanted to have rehearsed everything, but I spent the first half day just breaking the scene with the actors, not shooting anything, which put me really behind. I'd lost like half a day of shooting, which means the next day I would have to shoot twice as fast just to make the day, 3 times as fast to pick up all what I didn't shoot on the previous day.
So there was no leeway where you could add time on. You had a set time to do this, and that was.
I only had the people, the crew, the rented equipment for a weekend.
My God! And you managed. I'm guessing, obviously, you managed to do it.
On the second day, and it was 12-hour days. I shot 42 camera setups in a 12-hour day. The second day, because on the first day I had broken the scene. I spent the night up. Also, I didn't do a lot of planning ahead of time because being such an acting piece, I didn't want to put the actors in boxes. I wanted to work backwards from the rehearsals, from the blocking, and then stage the camera. So I did that on the fly on the first day, and then having a night in between the first and the second day, I was able to regroup and saying, okay, this is what I shot so far. How do I complete this? What shots do I need? And that's how I finished it. So it was not ideal.
And in terms of, it's interesting because I spoke to Ilya yesterday from the lottery. I don't know if you've spoken to her. The Spanish girl, she lives in Spain.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't see her film, but I spoke to her.
Yeah, and something she said sounds very similar to yours, which was that she only knew about it literally 2 days before they started the shoot, and then she rushed and said, yeah, I'll do it, and the rest is history. But I actually said to her, so I'm going to ask you, would you do exactly the same again?
No.
She said yes, but yours is
no. I think I could have done a much better job if I had the chance to work with the actors, which was the point of the whole exercise.
Yeah.
I was really lucky they were able to pull it off.
But things differently, it would be completely different.
Yeah, I would rehearse it for a week. I would rehearse it to death.
And how's it gone down? I mean, how much reaction have you had? I mean, positive reaction?
I think people get it. When you are in a crowded screening room, you see they are laughing where they should laugh. Yeah. They are like, oh my God, towards the end. I feel it works. I've been sending it to festivals. I entered some of the big ones, but I didn't win them.
Yeah.
But it won things here and there. I won something in the Madrid one, in the Tenerife one that the same guys organized. I basically did it as a calling card more than anything. But once it's made, you want to give it the best chance you can, so you send it out to festivals.
Of course you do. And in terms of what's next? Have you got something lined up now? I mean, is there something new in the pipeline for projects?
I am trying to get feature things to direct. I have a project in development in Spain. And the team I usually work with, not directing, I work as a second unit director and as an illustrator. I've been working with the same people for a long time. We're also trying to find material for me to direct in the States.
Right, okay. And forgive me for saying this, but so some people might find it a difficult subject to deal with by its very nature. The truth is 1 in 3 of us unfortunately are going to suffer from cancer, but and that is a fact of life.
Yeah.
How is that? I suppose what I'm trying to get at is.
I understand. I wonder, is this distasteful? Is people going to be offended? Is it the wrong thing to make a little movie on this subject? What I did is I asked like some friend of mine who had survived the breast cancer, and she had been very involved like with support groups. What she told me is that people who have cancer are usually very tough about it, and they have kind of a gallows humor.
Right, okay, I love that phrase.
No, she said like she's missing a breast, and she has a friend who says, oh, what you need is a man with one arm. She says she digs that type of humor. But the loved ones of people with cancer cannot have a sense of humor about it.
Right, so for instance, it's the relatives that find it more difficult than the actual sufferer. Right, okay, that's interesting.
But I had many cases of cancer close to me after I made the film. And I mean, I don't think it's that powerful that people would really be that disturbed by it.
No.
It makes light of it a little bit, but it raises serious subjects and invites people to think about it. And probably everybody who has cancer has thought about some of the same issues.
Well, yeah, and skin cancer is very prevalent, of course, in all forms of cancer.
Yeah, at least the benign one, the one that I got, well, benign, it's not benign, the one that doesn't metastasize, we all end up getting it sooner or later with the sun. And
can I ask, how was it discovered?
I had this thing from birth behind my ear, like a little chain of a weird tissue. And one time, drying my hair, or whatever's left of it, I scraped it with a dry towel. And it was like a little moist with blood. So I went to the dermatologist who told me, no, I don't know what this is, but it cannot be cancer, do not worry, it's not cancer. And then he calls me and says, guess what, it is cancer. So they just cut it out, the margins were clean, so in theory, they told me statistically, anyone who has it has a 50% chance to have it again, but that thing doesn't travel, and it was clean, so it won't be the same one.
So,
no, that's kind of the issues that I try to explore of the right to death with dignity and all that. They come from how terrible the disease is and how incapacitating it can be and how dehumanizing the last stages are. And
yes.
That's kind of the point of the movie.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I suppose getting back to what I was asking you a moment ago in terms of how people receive it, I think what I was trying to get at was it's obviously interesting how the public is, but in terms of the distribution of it, this is what I'm sort of in terms of did that make it more difficult?
Well, no, the thing is I never, like I did it with SAG actors and I used experimental agreement with them, so I can't even distribute it. If I want to distribute it, it kicks up to the next type of contract, like low budget movie.
Right.
And I mean, it's a short film. I don't think they would offer me enough money for me to be worth upgrading it. So no, I just made it so I can find myself jobs directing. I have to show that I can work with actors. I've done second unit stuff, but you do everything but. That was the real purpose of it. And in that regard, I think it's helped. I mean, I don't get interviews because of the short. I get interviews because of the connections I've made working for 20 years in the industry.
Yeah, because someone told me you've worked on some well-known films. Is that true?
Yes. But once I have the interview, everybody wants to see things you've directed. In that regard, being able to show the short has been helpful.
And something you mentioned earlier, I think you referred to it as a calling card movie.
Yes.
So, and I know that obviously there's the personal side of it, but ultimately it's used as a visual aid, one of the better way to describe it, to actually say, well, actually, I may have worked on this, but this is me, and this is what I can do.
Yes. It's not that I'm trying to make movies like the short, and I found out people expect that. People say, well, I'm thrown off because you work in this type of movies, but your short is so different, we don't know what you're looking for. But I wanted to show mostly that I could work with actors. On my day job, I work a lot in action movies and science fiction, but of course, the first-time director may not have the type of budget to do something like that. Or in a short film, pay off my own pocket, I certainly won't. So I had to go in a different route where I could show I can work with actors to complement what I am already showing in my second unit work.
Yeah. Okay, and just one final question. Obviously, this is your babe, this is your film, and I know you may do things differently, but now you've got a taste of it being the main man, as it were, because ultimately it's your feature. Is it something you wish you'd done years ago, or was it all built up?
Yes, no, I should have been doing this 10 years back. I waited too long. If I realized, and it's quick, once you go, in 2 weeks you've shot it. 2 weeks of pre-production, 2 days of shooting, and now it's in the can. You can take your time to edit. I edit it myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was no reason why I shouldn't have been doing this over and over for the last 10, 15 years.
Things you don't know till you know.
Well, I was trying to get feature projects going, and I spent a lot of energy and time chasing them, and when it seemed they were about to, they fell apart.
Yeah.
And that happened over and over. In that time, I could have made some shorts that might have given me a better shot at pursuing the longer ones.
Okay.
But yeah, hindsight 2020.
Well, that's right. Listen, thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure.
Really appreciate that. Thank you.